Get ready, get ready, get ready. Hold on to your hat, fasten your seatbelt, and tie down your wig. You're tuned into the Kathy Brooks Show, where you will gain the knowledge to unleash your superpower. At the Kathy Brooks Show, you will be challenged. You will be inspired to action. You'll be given practical tools, and you will be transformed. Hello and welcome. Let me reintroduce myself. My name is Kathy Brooks, and I'm the host of the Kathy Brooks Show. You have just entered the community where we encourage purposeful living to promote a prosperous spirit, soul, and body. We believe in providing practical tools, a word, a resource that can be applied to your situation that will inspire you to take action. And that action, whether big or small, I hope will lead to transformation. Thank you for stopping by. And I want to get right into today's subject. As a small disclaimer, I want to let you know today's subject matter is of an adult nature. And if you're not ready to have conversations with little ones, I would suggest headphones for yourself or headphones for the little ones. So let's get right into it. I always like to start the show with a quote. And today's quote is, "To ensure good health, eat lightly, breathe deeply, live moderately, cultivate cheerfulness, and maintain an interest in life." That's by William London. And the second part, I also wanted to include a quote, a scripture. And that scripture is Psalms 139:14. "I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and my soul knows right well." Okay, now let's move on in and get to the topic at hand. I'm so excited to have this guest today. And I'll go ahead and actually, let's take a quick break. And once we come back, I'll introduce my guests.
Hey, it's your girl Lisa Dene, and I want to tell you about a product that has changed my life. Rain Premium Sanitary Napkins. Rain products are infused with a Nobel Prize-winning material called graphene. It's the graphene strip that provides the various health benefits that can improve your quality of life during that time of the month. Listen, I've been very loyal to a certain brand of feminine products, but I've never experienced the results I get with Rain products. The difference is in the graphene strip. Using Rain products has totally eliminated the painful cramps I experience, and it can also help balance your body's pH, eliminate harmful bacteria, and help fight fatigue. Graphene moves heat away from your core to keep you cool and comfortable. Ladies, it's time to upgrade your feminine care with products that not only offer protection, but also improve your health and wellness. Place your order today and receive your premium sanitary napkins delivered directly to your door. Visit www.drfcare.com to make your purchase today. And don't forget to mention that your girl Lisa Dene and Stunner Radio sent you.
All right, we're back. Okay, it's time to introduce my guest for today. My guest today is Ms. Dana Irvine. Sorry. She helps women recognize problem areas to help restore hormone balance, boost libido, and increase energy. She has done research in many facets of eating, faith, and emotions, and as it relates to health. Within her practice as a spirit, mind, body, and nutrition coach, she discusses opportunity to change through stress releasing techniques and exercises. She is the host of the Wise Divine Woman podcast. She is a medical thermologist and she is a certified yoga faith instructor. Please help me welcome Ms. Dana Irvine. Hello, Dana.
Thank you, Kathy. Sorry. Come right on, I choke. Hi, hello, welcome. Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad you're here today. As you heard in the intro, I mentioned a couple of things about you. There's a lot.
There's a lot, yeah.
There's a lot. So I wanted enough time for us to unpack it all. because I just want to start off with just a little bit of information that I think is important for women. We celebrate a lot of different milestones. Some of the
Mm-hmm.
milestones we dread because it's approaching a certain age, and we have fear and some excitement. But there's a roller coaster of emotions, and I wanted to bring you on so that we can have a real discussion about old wives' tales, what the myths
Mm-hmm.
are, and
Mm-hmm.
hormones, libido, menopause. Oh my, we are
Yes.
ready to do that discussion.
Thank you. Yeah, for
So,
sure.
um, let's start off. Let's tell the people. Let's just get them prompted and let them know what you do, who you are, and just to lay the foundation. Then we can go into
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of detail.
Sure. I'm a holistic health coach, mind body nutrition coach, clinical thermographer, and I'm a yoga faith instructor. And in my practice, I believe that we are not linear. We're many things. So in our health, as we age, or in our health completely, it is always mind, body, your spirit, and
Hmm.
nutrition that these things are. You have to take into consideration for your whole health. And that's where I've just sort of, you can just kept gathering the tools that you need. But in that, it's just been incredible. Like in thermography, which is an infrared study of the body, um, looking for inflammation and stress, I have so enjoyed meeting women on their journey of health and helping them just to, um, find the right practitioners and find what's, for a lot of women, they're unsure of why their aches and pains or what's going on. And
Hmm.
I think that's just one of the tools that are really helpful when you're trying to um, look at your health and longevity. Um, with health coaching, it's not just, it's everything. And then where does faith come into play with that, right? And I found that with the yoga faith um, practice, I was like, God's everywhere. God is everywhere,
Mm.
and he needs to be everywhere. So I thought, if I'm going to learn about stretching, and I'm going to learn about breath work and breathing properly and learning to be still, I might as well, or I should have a better foundation. So I have found that this to be a beautiful ministry. The creator, the founder, Michelle, of Yoga Faith, is like, it is incredible and so historical. And you're digging into Old Testament, and it's just been incredible. So the whole thing is just been an incredible journey. And each time I'm with a client, I'm with a woman, um, it becomes an individual, unique journey. And it's been incredible, so much fun gathering all these tools up so I can help women. So, yeah.
Wow, wow. Yeah, they're all different, but together it sounds like it helps with the alignment. I mean,
It
I'm
does.
big here on alignment,
Mm-hmm.
understanding how everything works together. So, I guess the good place to start, um, the podcast where you talk about it's
Mm-hmm.
hormones, libido, and menopause. So, let's start with hormones because
Yeah.
uh, let's define because sometime in my mind, hormones and menopause is the same thing. I don't know, but maybe you can help with that.
Well, the hormones is sort of that cliche, and it encompasses so many different things. There are a multitude of hormones in your body. So whether it's for sleeping, or it's for uh, your mind health, or whether it's gut, whether it is your general sex hormones like your estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone.
Hmm.
Melatonin is a hormone. It helps us to manage that as well. Insulin is a hormone, and that is for
Wow.
your sugar, right? And when you're
True.
talking menopause, it's the balance of these as we age, so that we're not spiking, and we're not getting that sleeplessness, and we're not getting sugar imbalances, and of course the natural understanding, the natural ebb and flow as we change. Estrogens decrease, progesterones decrease, testosterone decreases, but it is just preparing our bodies so that they can become the best that we can be in these transitions,
Hmm.
in becoming more of a neutral. Sometimes some teachers believe that you're sort of entering back into that pubescent sort of age when you're 11 or 12, right? Before your hormones start to spike up. So you kind of get that vitality, but it's all this inflammation, all this stress, all this gut imbalance really degrades and pulls on the, and that's what creates the imbalance, I find, when women are not being focused on finding the root core or the root of where the inflammation is coming from, or not paying attention to how their gut is responding,
Okay.
which then plays a role because if your melatonin's out or your gut is out, then everything else falls out of place as well.
Okay.
If you're toxic and your liver's not working, your kidneys aren't working, then you retain fat. Excessive fat produces estrogen. So it's a huge
Mm,
slippery slope, right? And then you have this aging or this phenomena that's happening now with this insulin resistance, in that it creates a wall that we keep hitting ourselves against, and that's where the diet, even as something as simple as the 5-day hormone detox, changes things up, helps break through that resistance so that you can start, you know, eating better,
okay.
losing
Okay.
weight, doing that kind of stuff. So,
Well, you mentioned the 5-day hormone detox. Now, I know that's something that you're offering. Ladies, Dana is offering the 5-day hormone detox. You could
right.
just go to, is it your website?
Yeah, wisedivinewoman.com.
Yeah,
And
wisedivinewoman.com.
yeah,
And
and the simplest thing about the 5-day hormone detox is really just introducing foods that we should be eating more of, and foods we
hmm,
should be eating less of as we age. So
okay.
for some cultures, I'm not used to eating a lot of lentils, not used to eating a lot of legumes, things like that.
Hmm.
Necessary for those as you increase, because we're trying to increase our fiber. You
Okay.
need to keep increasing fiber when you are in menopause, perimenopause, estrogen dominant, because you want the fiber to help excrete all the estrogen. Estrogen is metabolized in the liver, then it is excreted through the bowels. If we are not having a bowel movements 1-2 times a day, then you have the possibility of reabsorbing the estrogen back into the body. That's why the additional fiber, the flax meal, all of this great water that we talk about during the 5-day hormone detox is necessary, because we're trying to boost our estrogen metabolism. And even on the web page there is a little spreadsheet for you that you can grab, because it also talks about boosting your estrogen metabolism. So
Okay.
even doing something as simple as increasing flaxseed, or increasing the amount of legumes, increasing the vegetables, which are necessary to, again, get the bowels moving better, help support the liver, because the liver needs to metabolize that. But in all, it circles back to help your breast health, which no
Wow.
one ever talks about. Like, this is so important. Even something as simple as the 5-day hormone detox is so important, just even for your own breast health, which no one ever thinks about, no one talks about, because they just don't. They only think of cancer,
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
right? They only think
That's
of
true.
cancer. So,
That's true. So these things we can do as a preventative uh, before we
correct.
even before. I mean, health is such a rich commodity. You know,
It
we
is.
only think about it after it starts to deteriorate.
Right.
And I want people to understand we can do something now. You know,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
make
And
some change.
as much as it's necessary to address your diet, right? And increase that estrogen metabolism, and eat better food, and food that are better for your hormones and gut health, and that a lot of it is to also then reduce inflammation in the body as well. But what happens even more so is this next stage of this stress management.
Okay.
You can be eating the most perfect food at the right time, the right balance, the perfect calories, anything. But if you're not managing your stress, and you're stifling all your stress down into your gut, or you're always panicking about things, then there's no sense of eating anyways, because you're always in fight or flight. And that's where
That's true.
right? You're always in fight or flight. So then you're not going to digest food anyways. You're not going to absorb your minerals. And then your cortisol, which is your other hormone, right, from your
Okay.
adrenals, is always spiking. The
Yeah.
more the more cortisol that spikes, the more inflammation that you have, the more pain that you'll get, the more chronic things will become, like arthritis, which always tends to happen more as we age after menopause. So
Well,
it's
let
it's
me
it's
back
a
up for a
lot.
minute.
Yeah, you go, you
Yeah,
go.
let me back up for a minute. Two things you said. That's managing stress. One thing I
Hmm.
see people and I say, stress is a part of life. There's good
It
stress
is.
and,
It
and
is.
bad stress. The key is you have to manage it. You have to learn how
Yes.
to manage your stress.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, that's an ongoing process. It's
Yeah.
not a one and done situation because stress, depending on the
Hmm.
circumstances, depending on what's going on. So, do you find that? I guess it's a two-part question. One of them is the yoga faith. Does that help with
Hmm.
the stress, the stretching, and
Yes.
all that, the
Stretching and
breathing?
strengthening. Yes. So with yoga, let's say, and so in the practice of yoga, there are many Christians are very against that sort of yoga. I was as well, until I really started reading and researching about it, in the sense of God wants you to move. God
Mm-hmm.
wants you to stretch. God also wants you to be still. How many times in the Bible does he tell us to be still? How
Mm-hmm.
many times in the Bible do we talk about breath, right? And so it's just these opportunities of breathing, and stretching our bodies, and and you can do that with anything. But I just chose Yoga Faith because we really dug deep into the Word, and it's been so amazing to be able to open in prayer, quote scripture,
Okay.
finish in prayer. It's just been amazing. So it just filled my soul right up. Like it's been phenomenal. So,
Wow.
but with that, breath work lowers your blood pressure. If you know how to control the breath, take a big breath, and we are all shallow breathers, right? Which then doesn't exercise our diaphragm, doesn't exercise our lungs, which in turn then doesn't drain our lymphatic system, which then doesn't support our immune system, right?
So, you say taking
Breath.
breaths and learning to
Hmm.
breathe
Yeah.
helps with the blood pressure.
Oh, yeah. It is incredible. If you can, so if you are someone with high blood pressure all the time, you're having a hard
Mhm.
time controlling it, take time during the day at, like, say 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, before you eat. Like, how many people actually stop and do prayer before they eat nowadays? It's usually just shove and go. And we don't
Mhm.
take that time. And that also puts us in that rest and digest as well, taking that time for prayer before you eat. It can be a
Okay.
silent, but also taking 5 nice, deep, slow breaths. So if you're breathing in for 4 and exhaling for 8 or for 6, building up to
Mhm.
8, what that does is causes that sympathetic nervous system to come in, or the parasympathetic nervous system to come in and calm the body, get the heart to rest, and it lowers your blood pressure.
Wow,
And
that easy.
that is literally that easy, honestly. 2 or 3 times, build it up, take the time. And if you check during the day and you kind of maybe set your alarm every hour and catch yourself breathing, we are very shallow breathers. We do not take big belly breaths.
Mhm.
And so you want more oxygen in the body. You want to exercise the diaphragm with breathing, and release stress as well. And our breath is actually part of our detoxification system as well, where you want to be able to get the toxins out from the
Lisa
breath
says
as
she's
well.
gonna try that. She's gonna
Yeah,
try
there's
that.
so many. So there are, box breathing. There's 4 4 to breathe for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4. There's many of them to practice. But if you find you're even during at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock time, when in the old days we'd go for smoke breaks or we go for a coffee break, or
Mhm.
those
Mhm.
types of funny things we would do back in the when we were younger working. But we don't do those things now because we're all working from home or we're working in an office and it's very busy. Taking the time to stop and breathe energizes the body, infuses oxygen from head to toe, moves the diaphragm so it's moving and supporting your lymphatic system, and that
Okay.
actually helps support your immune system overall. Once you get your cortisol to stop spiking, that helps with blood sugar regulation. It helps to
True.
reduce inflammation in the body, and it also helps to balance out the hormones so that you're not stressed out all the time, not exhausted all the time, and it just overall gives you that sense of well-being as well. It's very
Wow.
helpful, really, really helpful. If no one's ever tried alternate nostril breathing, in through the left, out through the right, and there's many YouTube videos. If you are having a panic attack or an anxiety attack, try alternate nostril breathing, because what it does, it activates the opposite side of the brain. So I'll activate the left side, then right side, and it causes your body to calm and actually pulls you out of an anxiety attack.
Hmm. Wow, that's good
Right?
information.
Yeah. And it's
Good
funny. I mean,
information.
as Christians, we don't, we do, but there needs to be actually more time of being still, more time of pausing and reflecting and meditation and in prayer. With the practice of yoga, it's not making all these crazy, funny moves or these weird pretzel shaped poses. It's
Hmm.
also about spending time at creating an altar where you put your worries there. You put your stressors there. You put all your worries, all your prayer requests, all the different things there, and you actually get to stop and you breathe and you pray and you be still and listen to God's voice into every
Wow.
situation. And that's
That's
what
that's a,
that's
that's a
yeah.
good thing to incorporate.
Yeah,
Good
and I
thing to
know this is
incorporate.
like we're kind of away from that hormone menopause, but if you can get your anxiety down, you can get your breath to infuse energy into the body, knowing that
Hmm.
God infused, that's the first thing you infused into Adam was the breath of
Hmm.
God, or being
Right.
filled, that sense of even being filled with the Holy Spirit. You've got to make room for that, right? You've got to be able to be ready for that. And just doing
That's so
simple
true.
strength, yeah, being simple,
That's so true.
stretching, building strength in the core,
Hmm.
right? And doing simple moves allows us to be ready as Christians to whatever's going to come our way.
Well, let
And
me ask. Let me ask
mm-hmm.
you this question. Um, I know we haven't moved into some other areas, but this
Yeah,
one
yeah,
is
yeah.
very. This one is very good because you may have people that may be taking medications or are on the
Mm-hmm,
verge of
mm-hmm,
having to take medications,
mm-hmm.
and this could be something that they could do maybe over. You think maybe over a 30-day period, and just monitor and
Monitor
see,
it. I think
go
so.
to the doctor, do the breathing techniques, then
Yep.
go back and just see how they're feeling before, they have to go into another phase of
I
medicine.
think that exactly.
Okay.
I think all of that should be sort of looked at when you're looking at preventing heart disease or looking at preventing all the different chronic things that come from inflammation. Like inflammation is just the catalyst for many things. Um, learning learning and gathering tools for yourself to manage stress, to manage inflammation by simple changes of diet, incorporating even fasting, which is also, I'm doing a lot more research lately
Fasting is
with
good. Yes.
the importance of intermittent fasting for women over 45 because of our spiking insulins, and trying, what they're finding is it's allowing us to break through these resistance that we've given ourselves, and our fasting blood sugars become better as well. Lots
One,
of
one,
research
one
with,
thing,
yeah, go.
one thing, you talked about inflammation. I kind of
Yeah,
want to really define what that is. I mean, and
yeah.
could it
So
be different forms of inflammation in the body? I mean, what
of
is it?
course
Is
there
it
can be.
disease?
So
What is it?
inflammation is stress, right? So
Okay.
however stress is manifesting in the body. With thermography, let's say, thermography is a great tool. It's not just used as a replacement for mammograms. It's not licensed to do that. So it is a nice way to look at things differently. And it's all over the
Hmm.
States. It's all over the world. It's a great way to identify what stress is happening. So when you're not metabolizing, let's say, your estrogens, estrogen causes inflammation in the body, and that's where problems may begin. If you are not, let's say your kidney's not functioning well, or you're eating a really bad diet and you get uric acid. Uric acid, it still happens in women as well, where men get gout. I think women get other little pain issues, but that irritation of that crystal in the body causes inflammation. Then it gets caught in your joints. It causes redness, right? It causes swelling. Cortisol as well. Cortisol causes a vascular inflammation. That's why your face turns red or your body turns on fire when you're all stressed out. That's inflammation as well. The more that happens, and then so even if your diet, right, that heartburn, that chronic heartburn that everyone gets, that's causing a fire in your stomach. That's causing inflammation as well. It's just, I find it's the low grade inflammation, like, you're not supposed to be eating bread, but you do anyways. That's, yeah, we all do. It's okay. But it's that causes it. Yeah. that causes inflammation as well. And that's okay. But it's these switches and things. To me, when you're stifling down situations in your life, if you're shoving situations down and that causes inflammation. If you've got a lot of anger, maybe some bitterness, maybe some spite you're not just taking care of, that causes inflammation as well.
Okay, I'm getting the gist of it.
Yeah.
So
There's so many things.
It's time
right?
to be still and take a look at some things.
I think so.
And get a checklist of, and start process of elimination to start to reduce our stress level, the inflammation in our bodies, and, and see how that's going to work before we start, going to another level.
Going to the doctor, going to those things. It's the understanding and journaling and talking about it and having these open conversations so women can, have it. I can give insight, or you can pick up on insight in understanding what's stressing you out is different than what's stressing me out. True. And then it's going to change our hormones as we're changing differently. So it's understanding as we're aging, the things that we have to let go of, the things that we have to have better tools to manage. It's understanding diet a bit better so that we can reduce inflammation, right? And how important all these different things are. But why is fish oil important? We hear about it all the time, but why? Or why is flax meal important? And so in the podcast or in the 5-day hormone detox or any of the things that I do, I just want that opportunity for women to recognize their triggers, gather better tools, identify the things that are going to cause inflammation for them, and then be able to ask their doctors different questions, find different people to help them, or find me to help them. But it's just this honoring, and honestly honoring where you are and transitioning as we are changing into wise divine women that we need to focus on, because we're not 20 years old anymore. We may get some wrinkles, we may put on some pounds, but that body image has to change too. It's so that all the mind stuff as well, right? So as we move through those 4 pillars, we know that stress management is important. We know that flexibility and body tone is important as well, so that we gain muscles, build bone is still as we age. But also the stress management and our body image, how we view ourselves as well as beautiful women, has to change at some point as well.
That's true. That is so true. Well, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to move into another segment so that we can talk about some other parts of this.
Yes, of course.
It's a lot to unpack.
There's always.
So far, we have covered some great techniques, and we'll summarize those. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
This show was sponsored in part by Flat Fee Tax Prep and Services, offering quality tax preparation, serving clients nationwide. For more information, visit www.flatfeecreditandtax.com. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you.
All right, we're back. So, let's do a quick summary. Dana, the areas that she coaches, mind, body, spirit, and nutrition. We talked about those things, and the breathing techniques. Something that we could definitely do right away. That's something we all can
Mm-hmm.
incorporate
Mm-hmm.
daily activity. um, Understanding inflammation and what those triggers are, as far as like it could be anger, um, different things that we're dealing with, frustrations, all of those things. Inflammation, it shows up in your body and could cause other things to go on. So now that we're
Mm-hmm.
aware of that, we'll start to work on that. So we had a couple of questions. Let's go into, I know the big thing here is the menopause and the libido. So we'll gently move into those areas.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Yes.
We'll gently move into those areas. Uh, as far as for me, some I haven't, in my background, it hasn't been a lot of teaching in that area for me. The old wives' tales talk about hot flashes and the change, and
Mm-hmm.
it's always been the change, a visitor, and no real definition of what this means and
Mm-hmm.
what are the signs. I know it's maybe different for everyone,
It
but
is.
but there should be something that kind of underlines it for a woman of a particular age. Some things start
Yeah.
changing for them. So, can you speak on a little bit of that? I
I
mean,
can.
it's not
Yeah.
going to be more generic, of course, but
Yeah,
just
so you're
something we
looking at when you start about your 40s, your periods start to change. Maybe the texture, maybe uh, the the time between periods, things
hmm
like that. That's normally a perimenopause change. Maybe breasts will get more sore, maybe more acne, things like that. And again, that depends on your toxicity and how you're metabolizing your estrogens, how you're
hmm
keeping your inflammation reduced as well. But
okay.
also recognize, I don't, if you're having bad periods as a 20-year-old and a 30-year-old, you your menopause will not be pretty. So you need to prepare I mean, this is like in hindsight, you need to be preparing for this. If you,
Wow.
um, and that's why the 5-day hormone detox or the estrogen metabolism checklist, those things are just great clues to help you,
hmm
because what's going to happen is that, um, there your periods will space out. They may become more clotty. They may become more heavy flow. And these are all things that you can talk about with your medical doctor, just to be sure, and always ask for blood work as you're changing. But there are
Okay.
other supplementations that you can take that can help you support through those things. And there are some really great blends out there. And it is a fine tooth comb. You kind of have to ebb and flow with it. But once you
hmm
start to recognize and manage stress differently, then you'll have less of it. So hot flashes can be part of the hypothalamus and the thyroid and the adrenals as they are changing and they're kind of overworked. I find the more stress that you may have had, or maybe some food triggers, I find then hot flashes do happen. Night sweats, again, because the hypothalamus, your pituitary glands, those types of things that kind of run your endocrine engine, like in charge of everything. Um, then you get that hot and cold, because, and the thyroid plays a role in that as well. Um, by the time you're 50, everything gets tapped out, everything gets overused. We haven't been supporting the thyroid, we haven't been supporting adrenals,
mm
and we've just been relying all of our energy on our adrenals. Right? We don't look at it from that aspect. We may already be out of our estrogen dominant, which is again going to be causing painful periods, cystic activity, endometrial cysts, breast cysts. Maybe you're mineral deficient. Again, these are all things that start to really pop up as you're 50. Then you start having these insomnia, muscle aches and pains, again,
Whoa.
cystic breasts, things like that.
Whew.
Right. And it's the same as you just need to understand your body. And and do breast exams. Don't be afraid of him. Touch your breasts.
True.
Let your husband touch your breasts. Like that's fine. These are all part of that thing. And it's part of even about that libido that we talk about.
Okay.
It's not that you need to be sexy for your husband. It is about being sexy for yourself as well. It's
Hmm.
loving you, putting you like Esther. Like, how long did she lavish herself in oils to make herself adorable for the
Ready for
king?
the king. Yes.
And we barely remember to brush our hair and put lipstick on, right? Like, these are things we have to take into consideration. And never mind, you've just spent the last 20 years raising children and having a job and running around. So as you're aging, and when you're 50, you're an empty nester, hopefully you're trying to rekindle your love life with your husband. You haven't touched your body in years. So it's dry brushing. And we haven't talked about dry brushing. Dry brushing is so important for your lymphatic system. It's so important to rejuvenate the cells of the body. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I've
To
heard of that. I've heard of that, but
Yeah, it's good.
I
It's
I
perfect
really
for
have to
breast.
get
Yeah,
into it.
yeah, breast health, your hormone health, your detoxification systems. It's an easy way, and then you just beautifully put beautiful oils on you after.
Wow.
Um, on on my last podcast, I talked about there are many breast oils. I advocate women to put oil on your breasts, whether it's just frankincense or coconut oil, or you create or buy your own. What that's doing is rekindling that nurture that needs to happen beyond just being breastfed or being these things that your husband touches, or you don't let your husband touch. But it's these things of connection. It's these things that need to sort of rewire the brain again
Okay.
into menopause, right? Because you've spent the last 20 years having children. And for some women, that is about this. It's about rekindling this back, uh, and
That's true.
creating
That's
this,
true.
yeah, and
That's definitely
creating
true.
this new life with their husbands. These are things we don't talk about mostly in the Christian aspect, in the Christian realm as well, is this necessity to be back in touch with our own bodies so that we understand. And if we can't love ourselves, then how do we expect our husbands to love us as well? Whether that's even just from mind, body, our glow, our our honoring of who God created us to be.
Well, yeah, also that goes into there's a lot of talk these days on self-care and taking care
Mm-hmm.
of yourself and
Mm-hmm.
you know people talk about, I love personally, I love going to spas and things of that
Yep.
nature,
Yep.
but sometimes time doesn't permit, and
That's correct.
the ones that I like to do are very expensive. But when you talked about oils, I really enjoy essential oils. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you're
So I mean,
talking about
you
putting
can
oils
create.
on your body. That's
So
that's a new
yeah,
one.
frankincense is beautiful.
Hmm.
Using jojoba, using coconut oil, um, coconut butter, all these
So
beautiful,
talk
delicious
to me.
things.
Okay.
So yeah,
Let's
yeah.
step back a second. When you talked about the dry brushing, so you can do the dry brushing and then follow up with the oils.
Yeah.
That's a
So
way of
dry brushing,
stepping. Yeah.
there are like 1,000 different videos. Just pick one. But
Hmm.
really, you're trying to move your lymphatic system, goes from here to here. It actually goes into the breast, out of the breast, around in the armpits. So you know how sometimes we wear a bra too much, you get too puffy underneath the arms, you
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
puffy in the breasts. That's your
Uh-huh.
lymphatic system stuck, right? It
Oh.
needs to drain. That's why bras are not very good. So, and then it needs to drain around. Or you feel stuffy through here, or your ears are ringing. Usually that's your lymphatic system backed up. But dry brushing really helps drain the body. It stimulates the body. It boosts your immune system, right?
Hmm.
Your body is supposed to throw all the junk into the lymphatic system, into the lymph nodes. And then it doesn't have a heart to pump it. You have to move it. That's why breath work. That's why walking.
Oh.
That's why rebounding or yoga or things to move your lymphatic system um, is so important. Because
Okay.
if you
That's
get all
like
this junk up, you'll be so, if you get too built up, if you get too toxic, you are one, not going to feel good. You're one, not going to be in any mood to do anything, and then your immune system starts to break down, and that's where then inflammation
Well,
still
see, that
continues to
that
rise.
gives a that gives a new definition of being toxic. Other
Yeah.
than get toxic people out of your life, but we could be
No.
walking around toxic in
Yeah.
our own bodies, and we need to learn. Well, I need to learn how to start to remove those toxins,
Well,
which help me.
massages are a very good point, but you can't get a massage every day. So doing the dry brushing and doing lymphatic massage yourself, like you don't have to do the gusha, but it's fun, the jade rollers, but
Oh yeah,
draining,
yeah.
learning to touch by yourself the body, the chest, the under the arms, around the breasts, right?
Okay,
Is going to be so encouraging to move the lymph fluid and have that connection with yourself again.
that is beautiful. I like
Yeah.
it. I like that.
And then if you have essential oils, honestly, just like hold them up, smell them. How does that smell? And then
I have them. Yes.
yes, you smell them, you double check that they're okay for your skin, and then you just make up your own little delicious blends and then be able to put them on your chest, on your arms. You can make up breast blends. The one that we've created has frankincense and myrrh. It has sandalwood. It has ling-a-lang, and a Roman chamomile, and all of them. It was amazing because all of them are about being with community, being with divine, that act
Hmm.
of forgiveness, that sense of nurture. And with the breast oil, those are all things that we find in research when it comes to breast cancers or breast disease. These are part of the emotional baggage that people are lacking or having problems with when it comes to breast illness. The
Hmm.
lack of nurture, the loss, the grieving, and the set loss of community sometimes happens. And that's where we sometimes see these things start to happen in breast cancers.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You made me think of. I know that you have a community, a sisterhood community where people
Mm-hmm.
can go and join, and
Yeah.
you may have that recipe out there. I'm
I
not sure.
do.
Okay.
I'll throw that's in there. I have it for sale too, but I mean, I'll throw that recipe out there as well because when you're looking at another great book to actually get, if you love essential oils, there is an emotions essential oil book that you can grab, and it speaks about those things, and that's what I love. You know, in the Old Testament, they burn incense all the time to bring you
Hmm.
closer to divine or that whole sense of things, and I love God created everything. That's why the
Right.
rose or the sandalwood or cedar wood to bring people together in a community, right? That sense of smell, frankincense and myrrh for Jesus because they had so many medicinal purposes, and that's where essential oils come into play as well for women. So
Okay. Well, as a disclaimer, don't run out and get the essential oils. You need to understand how they
you
work
need to
together.
understand them.
You
Yeah.
need a carrier oil as well,
Yes. Yeah.
because you don't want to just stick them on your body, but
You don't.
just as
Well,
precautions,
just smelling them.
smelling them. Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. And there are
Careful
beautiful
putting them on.
companies out there already that already have everything prepared. So you don't have to worry about all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
There's
Absolutely true.
so many fantastic companies out there and friends as well that create different things. But even just the smell of it, diffusing it is going to be beautiful and allowing you to, again, calm down
Mm-hmm.
so that you reduce inflammation, right?
Right.
And break out of this fight or flight that we're always in. We're always running from the bear, always running from the bear. And this is going to allow us to rest and digest, allow us to
Right.
fall asleep better in the evenings. And then the whole cycle of inflammation, the whole cycle of chaos can eventually be reduced down so that your transition to menopause becomes easier. If all of that is chaotic, it's not going to be pretty, right?
Wow, these are great, great tools. I mean, we are filling up our toolbox. There is so much
There's
information here.
so much, yeah.
There is so much essential oils, breathing techniques, um, and the oils also help. I use some like on my sleep. I created like a spray so you can put it on
Mm-hmm.
your pillow at night. It does help you to sleep. It does help you to relax. And if you're having a lot of issues around stress, and managing your stress, this is another tool that you can use
Absolutely.
that helps with
Absolutely.
that. So I did have remove. Let's see, we still have some time. I want to talk about just a little bit about. I don't know where this fits. Uh, Fibroids and that is what category would that fall under? Is it?
The fibroids in the uterine, or the fibroids in the thyroid, or the fibroids on the breast? Which
Mm,
ones? I think they all play a huge role together. No, I'm not going to
okay.
lie. I think
Um.
so. Yeah. When you're out of,
Lisa says. Okay. She says,
yeah, go.
"Can you give us a brief description of dry brushing? I assume you're using
Yeah.
a
So
body brush."
I'll just put my phone down here for a second here, and maybe you can see me. No, I'm not going to. Okay. So you can go to any video, but dry brushing is like a long handle or a short handle. You can have natural hair, you can have hemp hair, you can get boar hair. It all depends on what you like. And you are gently dry brushing.
Yes.
You're not digging
It's
deep.
a little rough.
It's a little rough, but you're just gently scuffing the top of your skin towards the heart. Actually, just nice circular motions is wonderful as well. Over the collarbone, towards the sternum, around the breasts to the sternum, down the arms, like circular, every morsel, every little bit. And what that does is stimulating blood and oxygen into every little bit of your body,
Okay.
moving the lymphatic system. A great way to start is actually to Google what a lymphatic system looks like for the body.
Okay.
Right? So then you understand. Remember, as kids, we always got our lymph nodes checked here,
Yeah.
here,
True.
here, in our armpits and in our groin. That's where all the collection stations are. So as we're fighting off these colds, we're fighting off whatever viruses are happening, or whatever bad germs you have in your gut, they're all expelling garbage. All that garbage goes into the lymphatic system. And so, yeah,
Okay.
it is
Lisa
a
says, "Okay, I was thinking
gentle
more of a
sweeping.
scrubbing motion."
Yeah, you can
Okay.
sweep, you can do counterclockwise, you can do
Hmm.
clockwise, and it's just, you're being really gentle. Same as a lymphatic massage. If you're doing something for your face, it's like the pressure it takes to move a dime across the table. And
Okay.
literally, that's how much the dry brushing is as well. You're just gently scuffing your skin a little rosy, then you dry brush, or then you shower, and then you can put on oil.
Okay. Okay.
And it's so stimulating. It actually is incredible. You will really enjoy it. The key thing also is to dry brush clockwise from the belly button outward,
Okay.
because that's the way the colon moves,
Oh.
right? So you always want to go in the movement of the way the system's going.
Okay. That's good information. Good
Yeah.
information. So, what was I asking? The fibroids. Fibroids. Yes.
Fibroids.
In the uterine.
The uterine
Those.
fibroids.
Yeah.
Usually it's an estrogen imbalance that happens. And again, it is a discussion to start with your medical doctor first. A lot of the times, there has been new research coming out with a type 2, when you're working with a sugar or a glucose or insulin resistance and the fibroids. Now, whether which one comes first, it's hard to say,
Hmm.
but there is new research coming out that these play a huge role towards one another. So intermittent fasting, more of a keto diet, low carb diet also can help with fibroids and fibrogens. I also find sometimes those using minerals, using magnesium, those types of things can also help and ease with the fibrogens. Sometimes it can represent a mineral deficiency. It also can be toxicity in the body, right? Sometimes it may just be them protecting itself. These are great things. Always go to your doctor first and ask about any hormonal tests that you can get. Also,
Okay.
to ask them and talk to them about inflammatory markers so that you can look at these things. If you can get a magnesium, your vitamin D is important too, right? All the things that you can understand about yourself as a hormonal hot mess. Again, understanding where your estrogens are at, your progesterone, and your testosterone levels, that imbalance can actually cause that the fibrogens as well,
Okay.
your toxicity levels as well.
Okay.
But that normally what that means, you are estrogen dominant normally, and you have to boost and work on that. And that can be a multitude of things that you need to sort of dig deep and have questions answered on that.
Okay.
First with your medical doctor first, then change your diet, manage your stress, look at supplementation, herbs, and minerals to help support that change.
Okay.
But yeah, I
Supplement.
actually, I'm actually finding, hearing more and more and more about it with our younger children. Right?
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear, when we were older, well, I'm much older than you are, but I mean, we didn't really hear too much of it. And now it's just almost normal. And I think it has to do with toxicity levels with people that are in our environment, with the detergents, with all the different xenoestrogens. So it's not just so much that you're producing too much estrogen. Let me just also say what estrogen dominance can be. When someone tells you that you're estrogen dominant, it might be that your liver's not functioning well enough to metabolize estrogens. It also can be that you're constipated and you're reabsorbing all your estrogens. Also can be that, your ovaries are overproducing as well. So these are all the great questions you have with your medical doctor to help determine those things. But if everything's fine and you're still having these symptoms of being estrogen dominant, then you have to consider the products that you're using, because your detergent, your shampoo, your fabric softener, your house cleaner, your hairspray are all or can be estrogen mimicking chemicals.
Wow. True.
Right? So that's where you have to sort of take a step back and remove those things if you're exhibiting all of those ideas, all these different problems hormonally as well. Because if you've only got 4 spots for an estrogen to get on your cell, and you've got all these bad estrogens coming in from that Downy that you're using or the Tide, then you don't have the good estrogens eating into your body. And then we wonder why we're having all of these issues with estrogen diseases.
Wow.
Right? So
This is this is good. This is
well,
good.
it's just
This is
stopping.
good.
It's just stopping and taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture. Don't always panic and run, to look for look for a drug or something to replace it,
Yeah.
because your stress, what you eat, what your environment is still needs to change regardless.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Well, of course, I can talk to you forever. There's so
I
many
know,
things
I
to
know, I
learn.
know.
But I think right now we have a great amount of tools to go forward with. Um, Understanding our environment, the things you mentioned, look at stuff that's in our products. That could be something
Mm-hmm.
that we could take a look at. Um, Managing our
E
stress.
Yeah,
There's
so
many ways to do that.
EWG, there's a cute little website, ewg.org, and they have an app as
Hmm.
well. And you can scan the barcodes with this app, ewg.org, I think it is. And it
Hmm.
tells you what toxins are in it.
Okay.
It tells you all of that kind of stuff. But there are, like the plastics, there's a reason that we try not to use plastics anymore, because that's estrogen and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's so many things to talk about that aspect, but it
Hmm.
is just a better understanding. Sorry, I'll let you continue.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's great. That's great. I'm glad you said that. That's something I probably wouldn't have never thought of. But
Mhm.
ladies, let's tell everyone how to reach you, um, your website,
Yeah.
and your social media, all the ways they can get in touch with you.
Yeah. So you can go to danairvine.com to learn more about me. WiseDivineWomen.com is my sort of page where you can grab the freebies that we were kind of talking about tonight.
Hmm.
The Wise Divine Women podcast is where you can also hear Kathy and I chat, as well as
Yeah.
a lot of other faith-based women.
Hmm.
And honestly, you can go to Facebook to the Wise Divine Women, or you can find me, Dana Irvine. everywhere, really. But honestly, like, I schedule yourself a 30-minute discovery call if you've got some questions. It doesn't cost anything. So I just love talking, being insightful, and offering hope for women transitioning to become the wise divine women that God has called them to be.
I love that.
I know,
I
it's so
love
good.
that.
It's so good.
It is great. It is great. And I think it's important, as we grow older, it's going to happen. We're going to get older.
Oh,
Um,
girl, we are wise. We are
yes,
beautiful.
that we
We
get
are
wiser.
we are sages. We offer hope. We offer
We are
prayer. There's so many
seasoned.
great things. Yes, so many great things to look forward to as we age. Right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so
It
much
is my
for
pleasure.
this information. And I'll follow up with information in the description where
Mm-hmm.
people can find you and
Mm-hmm.
go out and grab those freebies that she mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And you can participate. I think, and we'd like to hear back if the breathing techniques, if some of
Mm-hmm.
the tools that she mentioned, that Dana mentioned, helps you out. You find yourself your stress level going down, or are you able to manage in those
Yeah.
high toxic situations? Um, I love to hear back that you guys were able to use those,
It's
and the
it's
dry
so
brushing
good. Yeah.
as
Dry
well.
brushing is so important.
So we still have a little time, but I want to start to kind of wrap up a bit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we let's see, the ewg.org that Dana mentioned. If you are interested in knowing about things that may be in products that you use,
Yep.
um, this may be a good place to start.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and Dana is also in line with what we talk about here on the show, and she talks about mind, body, spirit, and nutrition. Nutrition
Mm-hmm.
is so important, and how all these things tie together. The yoga faith, and I'm definitely gonna start.
Yeah, I need to get
Getting
it back on.
into-
I twisted my ankle, so I kind of took a little break, and then so it's I've been studying for it, studying further into it, but I need to get my own self back into things,
I
and
need to start the
it's
stretching and all
yeah.
that good stuff. I think it's good for us. But
Hmm.
let's let me go ahead and move into some quick announcements before we run
Thank
out of
you.
time. We'll do some quick announcements real quick. Go ahead and register for the Listen Up Challenge. It's still on. Subscribe to Stunner Radio. You could be our winner. When you subscribe, you get the message and the link. Um, Connect with us to advertise your business. This is a great opportunity for you to advertise your business, and go ahead and leave a comment on this show. Our next guest coming up is Dr. Janita, and she is a internal medicine doctor, and she's going to talk about um, food as medicine. So it kind of piggybacks on what Dana
Hmm.
is talking about, and we're going to get really into it. She's going to talk about how we use food as our medicine, and as an internal doctor, she can really show us some things. Uh, and with Dana and all this coming together, I mean, we're gonna be wise, divine, healthy, fine
Hmm.
women.
Amen to that. Yes. Yeah,
We're gonna have
that's going to
it.
be an incredible show because food is medicine, right?
Yes,
And God planted all that, and He created everything in accordance to as it should be. And
yes,
eating it the cleanest and the purest way is the best way. Like no
yes,
processed food, but
yes.
it has been an absolute pleasure, Kathy. Thank you
It has
so
been my
much.
joy, my joy, my joy
Yeah,
to host you today.
thank you.
And with that, we're gonna go ahead and close out. And I always like to close by saying, "Beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper
Hmm.
and be in health just as your
Hmm.
soul prospers."
Amen.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for so much for stopping by. I hope this program has blessed your life, and we will see you next time. Remember, we're only here on the second and the fourth Sunday, so our next show will be. I'll be
Two.
posting it. I don't want to mess up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But thank you so much, Dana. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
listeners.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, producer. And everybody, have a good night. Good
Bye.
day, whenever you're watching this. Bye.